surroundings. Learning about matter in our surroundings based on its physical properties. As we look at our surroundings, we see a large variety of things with different shapes, sizes, and textures. Everything in this universe is made up of material which scientists have named matter. The air we breathe, the food we eat, stones, clouds, stars, plants and animals, even a small drop of water or a particle of sand, each thing is matter. We can also see as we look around that all the things mentioned above occupy space, that is, volume and have mass. Indian philosophers classified matter in the form of 5 basic elements. The Panch Tattva: air, earth, fire, sky, and water. According to them, everything living or non-living was made up of these 5 basic elements. Modern-day scientists have evolved 2 types of classification of matter based on their physical properties and chemical nature. Physical nature of matter. Matter is made up of particles. Let us perform an activity to decide about the nature of matter. Is it continuous or particulate? Activity: take a 100 ml beaker. Fill half the beaker with water and mark the level of water. Dissolve some salt with the help of a glass rod. We observe that both salt and water is made up of very small particles. When salt dissolves, tiny particles break off from each solid salt granule. These salt particles go into spaces between the particles of water and mix with them. So, the salt solution will taste sour even though we cannot see salt in it. The level of water does not show any changes. How small are these particles of matter? Let us observe how small these particles of matter with the help of an experiment. Dissolve 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate in 100 ml of water. Take out approximately 10 ml of this solution and put it into 90 ml of clean water. Keep diluting the solution like this 5 to 8 times. This experiment shows that just a few crystals of potassium permanganate can color a large volume of water, about 1000 liters. From this observation, we conclude that each potassium permanganate crystal itself must be made up of millions of small particles, which keeps on spreading and imparting color to more and more of water on dilution. With every dilution, though the color becomes light, it is still visible. The particles of matter are very small. They are small beyond our imagination. If the particles were not moving, the color could not spread throughout the beaker on its own. This movement of different particles among each other on their own, so that they become mixed uniformly, is called diffusion. Characteristics of particles of matter. particles of matter have space between them. Activity: take 100 ml of water level of water in a beaker with a marking pen in a beaker. Mark the level of water. Also take 50 grams of sugar. Now add 50 grams of sugar in the water. Dissolve the sugar by stirring it with a glass rod. Let us look at the level of sugar solution in the beaker. The level of sugar solution in the beaker is at the same mark where water level was marked. The fact that there is no change in the volume on dissolving sugar in water tells us that there are spaces between the particles of water. Diffusion of copper sulfate into water. Activity: we will now describe the diffusion of copper sulfate into water. Copper sulfate crystals are blue in color. When a few crystals of copper sulfate are placed at the bottom of a beaker containing water, then water in the whole beaker turns blue slowly. Due to the motion of their particles, the blue copper sulfate particles in solution move upwards in the beaker, and the colorless water particles move downwards and mix with each other. This is called diffusion. This process of diffusion turns the whole water blue. If we carry out this experiment by using hot water in a beaker, we will find that the water turns blue at a faster rate. This is because, on heating, the particles of water and that of copper sulfate gain kinetic energy and move faster. And due to faster movements, they mix into each other more quickly. This intermixing of particles of two different types of matter on their own is called diffusion. We also observe that on heating, diffusion becomes faster. Particles of matter attract each other. There are some forces of attraction between the particles of matter which bind them together.
The force of attraction between the particles of the same substance is called as cohesion.
Activity: if we take a piece of chalk, a pencil lead, and an iron nail and beat them with a hammer, we will find that it is very easy to break the piece of chalk into smaller particles. It requires more force to break a pencil lead, whereas the iron nail does not break at all, even with a large force. This shows that the force of chalk is quite weak. The force of attraction between the particles of pencil lead is a bit stronger, whereas the force of attraction between the particles of iron nail is very, very strong. In general, the force of attraction is maximum in the particles of solid matter and minimum in the particles of gaseous matter. Summary: matter is made up of small particles. The matter around us exists in three states: solid, liquid, and gas. The forces of attraction between the particles are maximum in solids, intermediate in liquids, and minimum in gases. That is all in the subtopic, students. Let us learn state of matter in our next topic. Keep learning. Learning is fun.